Welcome everyone to a relatively small Let's Play. This is Survival Kids for the Game Boy Color. If you've ever heard of Lost in Blue for the DS, this is the spiritual predecessor. And in fact, they're still calling it Survival Kids over in Japan. This is a desert island survival game developed by Konami, where you have to find food, find and make your own tools, and eventually get yourself off the island. I asked on Twitter for suggestions for a character, and the best suggestion I got was a girl named Drew. The person who suggested it apparently knew a girl named Drew in real life, and I don't know, I kinda like that. So we're going with that. The story for this is pretty predictable and incredibly stupid. So, take a look at this giant-ass boat. Now note how many people are on this boat. Only 2. It's a dad and his 10-year-old daughter. Is it really a shock that this boat sinks? I mean, I know we need to get the kid on the island, but this is a cliche they had to stretch to perpetuate. I'm amazed the kid survives this. Luckily, adventurous dad, he must be from the south or something. He gives her a knife at age 10. Frankly, it's serendipity, because we use that knife more than anything. And then, the predictable happens. I still want to know how only 2 people can drive a boat that big. From my perspective, it looks like the size of the Titanic. And it sinks about the same way, too. They say it sinks without a trace. We actually see pieces of it on the beach that we end up on. And here we are. This is going to be our island paradise for the next several weeks. And there's a little monkey. We'll be seeing that monkey pretty infrequently for the next several videos. One thing you'll note with our character Drew here is, for a relatively small Game Boy game, she has a surprising amount of characterization. She's only 10 years old, but she's very gung-ho. She's very ready to take care of herself and go and find a way to survive. Right now, we'll just kind of explore, check around. We could see bits of the ship. There's grass in the way, so we need to find a way to cut that down. Luckily, in this sand dune, we find our knapsack. Inside, we have our knife, a couple of matches, which are literally useless, and a radio. The radio isn't useless, but it doesn't have batteries, so we can't do anything with that right now. But the knife can chop down little bits of grass, and that's how we're going to get around for the most part in this game. Exploring around the beach, we can see clams. We can't eat them raw, though. And we can't make a fire just yet, so we need to find some bits and pieces lying around, then combine those into some kindling. First piece of that will be a stick. And on the far right of the beach, we find our canteen. The canteen isn't totally necessary to survive, but when we find some fresh water, we'll be able to fill it with 3 doses, I guess, of water. And that'll fill our thirst up 50%. So it's good to have on hand, either way. And it is necessary for a couple of the endings in this game. Yes, there are multiple endings to this. It's a surprisingly in-depth game, I quite like it. First thing we find in the jungle is a feather. We use that to make arrows. And around this island, we're going to find grass, mushrooms, and some berries. The first time we see them, we don't know what they are. We just have question marks. But when you eat them, it'll tell you what they actually do. Some of them are beneficial. With grasses and mushrooms, the effects can be like getting confused or getting paralyzed. But there are other things that can fill you up, refill your thirst, or regenerate some stamina. You have to eat them to find out, though. One of the things that really drew me to this game was the merging system. We showed it right here. Combining that little bit of wood with the stick, we get kindling, and the kindling never runs out. There's no item degradation in this. So we can use that as much as we can, and I immediately burn the matches, because we can't do anything with it. I quite like that when you put in, the fire just grows bigger. It doesn't do anything else. Oh, and I hope you enjoy getting this soundtrack stuck in your head. This game has quite a good soundtrack, I have to say, but it will dig in there and it will stay. That's a bit of foreshadowing. We will be able to cut those trees down later. Gonna quickly take that stick. We'll be using that in a bit. Next couple of videos, and here we see one of the negative effects we can get from just eating random foods. Confusion, basically. Your controls kind of get turned clockwise, in a way. Here we find a hut. This is going to be our base of operations for the majority of the game. So we're just going to go ahead, slip inside, and Drew basically makes us end the first day in here. There's a couple of things we can do in here. We can sleep. If it's not the first day, you can rest for a short period. That'll help you get some stamina back. We can also check the map, and we can store some items in here. The hut, I think for the most part, has infinite storage. We're gonna go ahead and put the radio in here, because we can't use it until we find some batteries. And I'm gonna store the bird feather, because I don't have the other items to make arrows just yet. Yep, we'll rest another day. Well, with that, we're gonna go ahead and go to sleep. The Let's Play will resume on day 2, and then we're gonna go headlong into getting the first ending of the game. The update schedule for this LP will be a couple times a week. Each video will be between 15 and 20 minutes, so it's gonna be both a shorter and more frequent Let's Play than usual. My stomach's rumbling. But if you look, I'm basically full. Funny how the game works that way. The resting options are a bit, which is basically negligible, and enough, which regenerates about 20% of your stamina. And since I was relatively short, I figure I might tell you guys a funny little story. Kind of an embarrassing story. Survival Kids was actually my very first Let's Play. I did it in 2009. It was near the end of high school for me. What had happened was, I was following Retsupre, and they had done a Retsupre on the subtitle Let's Play of Survival Kids, where the subtitles were obviously put in Windows Movie Maker, because they just came right up in the middle of the screen. And it looked very silly, and arrogant me, I thought, you know what, I'll do a proper Let's Play, since I liked the game, and I knew a decent bit about it, so I could probably do something interesting. But I had used this specific video recorder that recorded both the game capture and my voice at the same time. And I was doing this on an old, crappy laptop, so the game and my audio lagged. The game looked fine, but the audio was obviously in the wrong place entirely. So I ended up doing a full, really bad Let's Play of Survival Kids. Don't bother looking for it, I've deleted it. It was pretty bad. But yeah, consider this kind of making up for that. But I'll leave you guys with that. Hope you'll stick around. And the next part, I will have a special guest joining me. See you then.